Hi everybody, welcome back to DayZ. Welcome to DayZ Update 1.28 experimental on my local PC. And in this video, what I want to show you is my new 1.28 compatible SAKHAL. Now, I'm going to call them edited files rather than boosted loot files because they're not really that boosted, because I've always had terrible trouble with SAKHAL on my console community servers. Of if I boost the loot too much, the loot economy just stops working. Now maybe I am just incredibly unlucky. I'm not sure, but the sort of quality of life changes that you can put in place with these files that I'm going to show you, I think, look at that, this is the new rack gun, I think are pretty cool, and I think they do change the experience. They don't make it incredibly easy because you're not getting the level of loot. Oh, pick up the other gun. Come on. There we go. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be covering in this video. Apologies for that. I just wanted to show you the rack and the new R12 semi-automatic shotgun. So what we've done, or what I've done, is if you look in the description below this video, you'll find a link to my GitHub repository and my Mega repository, and they contain not that, you don't want to look at that, they contain these edited files for SAKHAL that are update 1.28 compatible, so don't install them before 1.28 goes live. Also, the way that these are installed are different to the way that I used to do these files as well, so have a good look at the readme if you're not familiar with using the CFG economy core CE method. But don't worry, I'm going to explain all this if you're thinking, what on earth are you talking about, Rob? Now, what do these files give you though? So what they give you is the Payday masks, mag spawn full of bullets, antibiotics bottles spawn full, vitamin bottles spawn full, Chelating, that's the anti-heavy metal poisoning bottles spawn full. There's a faster login and log out. Loot should spawn in pristine. Okay, build anywhere should be on it if you use it, and if you find a map and look at it, it'll show you where you are. If you're on PC, just press M, and you don't need a map, it will just pop up. Two times vehicle spawn, and weapons should spawn with magazines, sometimes with suppressors and scopes and stuff like that, and vehicles spawn in with their wheels on, complete with fuel in the back. You just need to fuel it and then fill the fuel can with water, fill the radiator, and then you're off to go. So they do. Oh, the other thing is it's not as cold as well if you use the CFG gameplay file. So although I'm not adding in lots of food and lots more weapons and things like that, I am making things pristine, which I think is really important to SAKHAL, so things last a little bit longer as well. And if you do find a gun, it's going to have a mag in it, it's going to be full of bullets, so you can actually use it. But as I say, we're not using the old method where what we used to do, or what I used to do, was I would edit the vanilla types.xml, either use something like DayZ boosters to increase the values of the things I wanted to increase, and then you would replace the vanilla types.xml with the edited one. With this, we're using a method that takes advantage of the CFG economy core CE method. I do apologise, my throat's a little bit sore. I've been doing a few of these videos today. And what you can do with this method is you can actually come up with separate smaller files like this that only contain the edits that you want to make. So for example, the 1s128 extra types file just contains the bits that I want to change, not everything. So the way that it works is the server looks at the vanilla types.xml, then it looks at my types edit file, this one, and goes, okay, I can see that Rob wants to make sure that magazines have got bullets in, or that the vitamin bottles are full, and it will then apply that. And the beauty of doing it this way is it's a much cleaner way of doing it. It's easy to keep track on. If you're using mods on PC, it's much easier to add their particular type snippets or cfgspawnabletypes snippets, both add them and remove them. But for me also, the big thing is moving forward, it's much quicker for me to create these files going forward now I've made the initial files. And also it means that no matter what happens going forward, these files used this way should always work. So let's say I never make any more of these boosted loot or edited files. Because we're not messing around with the vanilla XMLs, the vanilla types.xml, in update 1.40 even, when your server gets updated to that, if you were to still use this method and still use these old 1.28 files, it would be fine, because all the new items that have been added up to 1.40 would work, because they would be spawned by the vanilla types.xml, and then this file would just edit and boost all the other files that were in the game, so you'd still get that working side of it, which I think is very important. It takes less of the some of the time pressure away from me in terms of the time it takes to create the files, but also, you know, if an update comes along, I can edit these much faster. So, excuse me, my throat's definitely a little bit dry now. So if you know what you're doing, by all means go over to my GitHub repository, click on code, download the zip, get the files, read the README. The README contains full instructions on how to do it. Or if the GitHub's not working, there's the mega repository as well. We can download them. For everybody else, let us dive in and let me show you how to do it kind of step by step. I do recommend you go through the README and do it that way. But this, for example, is my Nitrado Xbox server, or it's one of them. It's a bit of a test server at the moment. And what we want to do is we want to remember we only want to do this when update 1.28 is live. Now, I don't know when that will be. You may well know more than I do. But when it does go live, we'll get a message from Bohemia Interactive and the DayZ devs via Twitter, via X, by their blog, or via their forum saying, right, it's live now. Servers are going down, and then servers will go up. And then what will happen at some point on that day, your server will be updated to 1.28 in terms of the DayZ server.exe file. So the program that runs your server will get updated. However, normally your mission file won't be updated. So the mission file is the types.xml, the events.xml file. Normally that will be waiting for you to update it. But as a baseline, you want to make sure when you come over, when you're thinking about doing the update, make sure that your server status, the version, has clunked over to 1.28. As you can see, we're not there yet. It's 1.27. So then what we want to do is we want to jump into the settings. And there's a few things we want to think about here. Are we going to be doing a wipe or not? Now, the base thing that you must do on the update date is reset mission XML to default. So what you want to do is you want to tick that, save that, and restart the server. And what that's going to do is it's going to install all of the vanilla 1.28 files to your server. Now remember, the beauty of doing this sort of system with these is that only a few small file edits can make a big difference to the way the server feels and the way the server plays. But what we must do is make sure that the 1.28 vanilla files are there as a base. Also remember that when we do this, all of the edits that you've made to your types.xml or your events.xml, all that stuff will be gone. So you want to have made copies before. Also, it's really worth, if you've got files in the custom folders, whether that be custom builds or fresh spawn loadout files or that sort of stuff, make sure that you've copied them down. Now, just please excuse me just for a second. I'm just going to take a drink because my throat is a little bit dry. Oh, I can't do as many of these videos as I used to be. Must be getting old. Now, the other thing you may want to consider is the storage wipe. If we do a storage wipe, we're deleting all the players' characters, all of the builds, and all of the stuff, and then we're going to start again. Now, this can be really good if you've been having a problem with your server, or if you do have a regular wipe schedule. For example, I wipe my community servers every 6 months, so it's not really due to the end of June, and I'll be doing a storage wipe. If you don't do a wipe, though, as the majority of people won't be doing, just remember that as this new pristine loot starts to come through onto your server, it might take a while. You know, it's going to take a while for the loot to change, and so things like the vehicles, if you had vehicles on there before that weren't complete, they're going to be hanging around till they naturally despawn and then a respawn and place with complete vehicles. How quickly that happens depends on how busy your server is. The more people are on it, the less time it spends in idle mode, the quicker things happen. So for the sake of this one, we're going to say there isn't going to be a we're not going to do a wipe, so we would reset mission XML to default, and we would save changes, and we would restart the server. The server would restart, and then we would have the 1.28 files. Then we untick reset mission XML to default, and we would save the changes that way, because we don't want it continually resetting the mission to default. Then we want to go into the file browser. And what you will see is probably something like this. So if you're on a PlayStation server, it will say DayZ PS missions. If you're on Xbox, as you can see here, XP missions. If you're on a PC server, it will just say PC missions. One thing I should have mentioned actually about PC is that unfortunately on PC you cannot reset your mission XMLs to default, so you need to go and get them. And I'll put a link in the description below this video to the DayZ Central Economy GitHub repository, and this is where you can download the zip and get all of their files. Again, you only want to do this on update day when they've actually updated this, so you'll know, because you'll go into dayzoffline.sakhal and you'll go into DB, and then the types file, it will say updated today or yesterday, something like that. It'll be a recent time. Unfortunately, the best way to get this is just to download everything. So download zip and just get everything at once, and then extract it on your local PC, and then you can upload all the new files to your server to replace them. If you've got a PC server, you probably know what you're doing anyway. So there we go. Anyway, back to here. So we go into our mission folder, and as you can see, we've got Chernerus, Enoch, which is Livonia, but this is a SAKHAL server. So we go into there, and then we're just going to stop the server. It's always good to stop things. If you're on PC, make sure you create a custom folder in the base folder for the mission. On console, we have to put any custom files, so any file that doesn't have the same name as a vanilla file, we've got to put them in here, otherwise the server just doesn't read them. You don't have to do that on PC, but it's a good practice because it keeps your edited files away from the normal ones. So then all we need to do is find the CFG Economy core, which is there. It's only a small edit we're doing, so we can do this in the browser. So then if you go to the file that you've downloaded, open up the README, and in the README for SAKHAL, near the bottom, it says grab this. So you grab that, and then we go to here, and then what we do is after defaults and before the closing economy core tag, we just make a bit of space, Control V, let's paste that in. So let's reference all those files. So to save that, then we go back to the root of the mission directory. Then we want to go into the custom folder. Then we want to upload the file. DayZ modding 1281s. This is where it is. We're going to upload all of these. Go back into the base of the mission. Upload file, and then we want to upload the cfgspawnabletypes.json. Wait for that to do, and then start the server. That's going to take place. So what's going to happen? Start, yes please. Is that's going to restart, and the server is going to look at the vanilla types.xml, for example, see what it needs to spawn from there, and then it's going to look at my edits in the custom folder and go, right, we need to do these instead of some of those items, and it's going to work like that. Nice and simple, nice and easy, nice and easy to get rid of and to append, and hopefully this will work okay. Now, my SAKHAL server files are notorious for not working after a while, so sometimes what will happen is it'll work for a bit and then it'll break. If that does, I really do apologise. I don't know what's going wrong. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with these SAKHAL files. There must be something. I think maybe because there's not as many loop points at SAKHAL, it more easily gets overwhelmed. Maybe even like the vehicles overwhelm it. Not sure. But if you do find a mistake or an error, please let me know in the description below so that I can correct things. But apart from that, if you found this useful, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. And of course, I'll see you again soon.